Hey guys, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and this time we've got the pleasure of watching a liuxoB playing in the E-50. This is the Tier 9 German medium tank, the more heavily armoured one compared to the Leopard prototype. And while the Leopard prototype has received quite a lot of love recently with a series of buffs, the E-50 has not been buffed, and that's because it has always been strong. 150mm of upper hull armour on the front, even 100mm of lower plate armor, 185mm of frontal turret armor, and even 80mm of side armor allow this tank to create some crazy armor effective values at the front that can brush aside lower tiered opponents and even give equal and higher tiered opponents quite a good chance to bounce. The one thing that you don't want to do in this tank is either give the enemies a shot up into your lower plate or to leave it unangled, just facing them in the front, or to allow them to shoot the front of your turret when it's flat, because that will prove to be your demise. Now, liuxoB is also going to show that he is quite a skilled E-50 player who knows one of the key aspects of this tank that confuses a lot of people, and even myself. Before I get onto that, liuxoB kind of wants to try and use his position, and I'll explain why in a second. And this T-37 probably wants to get a spot off. He's not exactly pushing him out the way, but that is no position for a T-37 in this game. A T-37 should really be either scouting down here, he should be probably where this AMX 1390 is. Alternatively, there are bushes to use up here, or even the corner to use down here, or trying to approach up this way. That's just not an effective position for a T-37, and the only thing he's going to get himself there is killed. Now, liuxoB has managed to put a good shot into the IS-3 as he crosses and gears up wanting to shoot another one. Now, why has he got his tank angled like this, you might be asking? Well, the reason for this is that, one, he hides his lower plate and only gives a small part of his side armor, which would count as being able to be penned. But it's more about the fact that the gun depression on this tank is not equal over the front of the vehicle. Over the front of the tank, i.e. if you were to point your gun this way, you would only have 5 degrees in the E-50. What you have to do is to over-exaggerate the angle of your tank to be able to gain an extra 3 degrees, making the total 8. And so that gives you the gun depression that you need to work ridge lines like this. It's one of the key things that E-50 drivers do very wrong, not turning their tank to adjust for when they're working ridge lines. Of course, what this means is that when an E-50 wants to use that 8 degrees of gun depression that it has effectively over the side of the vehicle, it does have to expose that 80mm of side armor, which can be a good opportunity for you to take. So why is the E-50 just so great? Why is this an awesome tank, apart from the thick armor that we've talked about? Well, it also gets 105mm main armament, which is the same as when it goes up to tier 10 on the E-50M. Literally the only difference, even the rate of fire is the same, between the E-50 and the E-50M is 50mm of penetration. Now 50mm of penetration is a lot. The rounds go from being AP 220 to APCR 270, which obviously it's nice, but when the rate of fire is the same, when your gun handling the same, your accuracy is the same, your aim time's the same, which is usually where all of the other tier 9 tanks take a big step up when they get to tier 10, you know that you've got a very special tier 9 medium tank. And that's just what the E-50 does. 6.25 rounds a minute, that is top notch. Only the Patton, the recently buffed Patton, has a better rate of fire than that, I believe, for the tier 9 medium tanks, at least for those that use 105mm guns. If we look at the Centurion 7.1 as an example, that tank fires 5 rounds a minute. If we look at one of my favorites, the AMX 30 prototype, that fires 6 rounds a minute. So to have 6.25 in the E-50 is just lovely, and to still have that 220mm of penetration, which is way better than the most common gun on the T-54, enables this thing to just absolutely pick apart its opponents, especially lower tiered ones. And of course, if you do have the credits, then you can effectively use E-50M ammo on this, the standard ammunition on the E-50M. It's pretty much is the standard ammunition on the E-50M, this premium ammunition on the E-50. That sounds a little confusing. The only difference between them is the cost. And that is when you choose to fire this 270mm penetration rounds on the E-50, you're going to be paying upwards of, I don't know exactly off the top of my head, but I should expect it's nearly 5,000 credits a shot. Whereas the standard rounds on this tank cost 1,245. Now liuxo has decided to be aggressive here. He's got the back of this Czechoslovakian medium tank, the T-34-100, that brand new tier 7 medium. He shuts him down, and I believe he has forgot that he is firing APCR rounds in the excitement. Completely unnecessary there to use those APCR rounds on the back of that tier 7 Czechoslovakia medium tank. I think he loaded them either by accident or he loaded them to try and go through the Tiger turret, who was firing APCR back at him. And then, of course, having them against the Jag Tiger was useful, but completely useless against that Czechoslovakia medium tank. And frankly, 220 is enough here to go through the lower plate to the Tiger 2. So he's just wasting a lot of credits. But nevertheless, I sometimes do that as well. You just forget that you've pressed them on, and then you're just wasting through them. Let's hope it doesn't come back to bite him in the butt when he needs them possibly later on. Now he's shooting at a KV-3. Don't know how that is in this matchup. Oh, sorry, wait a minute, it's a KV-3. It looked like a T-150. It's using the T-150 turret, isn't it? That is, in fact... Gosh, yeah, I think he's using a stock turret on a KV-3. The KV-3 turret now looks so different since they changed the looks of it. Poor guy, this tier 7 Soviet heavy tank doesn't stand a chance with that stock turret. Probably still using the 107... Gosh, what is it? It's a 107mm gun? Oh my gosh, I'm having a major brain fart. Yeah, yes, a 107mm gun on that tank. The same one that's on the KV-5, which has some rather poor penetration. It's good at tier 6, but it's really starting to push it to use that gun on a tier 7 tank. So liuxoB decides to make that Tiger 2 regret coming over that ridgeline, puts a good shot into his turret, and really the kind of turret on the E-50 is kind of similar to the Tiger 2. In fact, it's probably just a touch wider. We can see that the only round, and that didn't actually do any damage, bizarre, must have been a high explosive splash there. liuxoB still being on his full hit points, and this is another thing that the E-50 likes to do. Look at the gun depression over the front, couldn't quite find it, finds a shot over the side, then turns his tank and rams the T-54 Mod 1, doing nearly 400 damage to that well-armored Soviet premium Tier 8 medium tank, and only taking 144 damage in return. And so that means that with a couple of shots and unfortunately a low roll, 335 damage, he has to put another one in to finish off that T-54 Mod 1, doing the full amount of its hit points, 1,300. So now, liuxoB finds himself in a situation where he is 1 versus 5. He has done 7,600 damage so far. He's used up half of the game to do so, and unfortunately he gets spotted as he goes over that ridge. Now we've got to think, did he get spotted by the tank that was capping? Quite likely. Maybe it was a Tiger 2 in one of the bushes that spotted him there. And he's got to watch out for the enemy artillery. Gosh, that one could have ended the game. Some really big self-propelled gun pieces on the enemy team, including the GW Tiger. If that hits you, you are going to know about it. So, what has liuxoB got to be thinking about here? Well, there's a WT-Alf Panzerfahr on the enemy team. That has a big gun, could have a very big gun. We're not sure if it's got the 128mm or if it's got the 150mm. One having more penetration than the other, it's certainly something that you've got to consider. Or actually, it looks like he's not using the big gun. He's using the 128mm, and lucky that one bounced, but that's just what the E-50 armor does. Some nice ricochets off the upper plate there. Really nothing is going through the upper plate on this tank, if it's even reasonably angled, and it's only the lower plate and the turret armor that you have to worry about, or if you expose too much of your side armor. So somebody stopped capping, and it looks like he wants to go down and investigate what has just stopped capping. He comes around the corner quite slowly, and there's the Tiger 2. Oh, disaster! Bounces off the upper plate, and the Tiger 2 fires a high explosive round into him. He needs to find that lower plate to kill the Tiger 2. There it is! Slam dunk. Luckily, the artillery must have thought that he was going to be reversing a little more and misses him. Now the Speerpanzer decides to come and put a cheeky shot into his back. Didn't really like that very much. Got to watch out for your hit points. 797 remaining. How is he going to deal with this Tier 8 German light tank? He's also got to be concerned about the WT-Alf Panzerfahr and more artillery splashing him. When you're in these 1 versus X situations, you've got to be aggressive. You've got to try and quickly reduce the amount of tanks on the enemy team. And it looks like liuxoB wants to be able to do just that. He's going to try and flank this RU-251. He finds him, puts a good shot into him, and now reverses up. He doesn't want to get hit by the artillery. I like this play, actually. I would have thought I might have been guilty of just rushing down, seeing that the WT-Alf Panzerfahr missed. To be able to go straight after the Speerpanzer there, try and finish him off, and then brawl with the WT-Alf Panzerfahr. But all I think that is going to accomplish is probably getting hit by artillery in that situation. And the E-50 does very well in frontal engagements, and having those 2 tanks come in front of it just like that is exactly what he wants. Nice ricochet there. Not sure if that went off the side of the turret or the upper hull. Both are very well angled. You have to hit the front of the turret or the lower plate for the WT to stand a chance. And just look at this. Look at this accuracy and this aim time. Precision work here reduces the health of the WT Panzerwehr to now being a one-shot. And so, liuxoB decides to take his chances. He has a quick look to the right to see if the Ru-251 Speerpanzer is going to ambush him and drive straight forward. This time, the Waffenträger Panzerwehr connects his shot, and that means that he is now very low on hit points. If the Ru-251 Speerpanzer rolls high, it could be the end, and he pulls back, narrowly avoiding the artillery shell there. Very well done to not go around that corner, duking out the artillery shell. How many more can the artillery miss against him? And will they regret it? They've only got the Ru-251 spotting for him now. So where is that Ru-251? Oh, he's caught him out of position. Very well played there. I believe the Ru-251 was believing he was going to come round this corner, and he had his tank situated to run away. So now liuxoB has a very tricky decision to make here, as he narrowly missed, the artillery narrowly misses him again. Goodness gracious. So he's in the cap circle. Remember, this is encounter. On encounter, it takes twice the amount of time to cap. So that is 200 seconds. 200 seconds is 3 minutes and 20 seconds, but he decides that was your last chance. All right, he has gone all in. He doesn't have enough time to cap now in the encounter. But luckily, the GW Tiger comes right out in front of him. He flinches a little bit and rolls high. Very well done there to use a high explosive round. Of course, 510 average damage there, shutting him down in a single shot. There was no chance whatsoever, unless he caused an ammo rack or an engine fire, that a standard AP round would have dealt with that Tier 9 German self-propelled gun. Very good choice of high explosive round there, liuxoB. And now he has put himself into a 1 versus 1. He has 2 minutes and 45 seconds to track down this Tier 8, I believe. Yes, the Tier 8. Oh no, it's a Tier 7, it's an M12. Oh gosh, I don't play artillery enough to know these kind of things, guys. Yes, it's a Tier 7 American tank destroyer. Well, it doesn't really matter if it's Tier 7 or Tier 8 at this point. When you're reduced to 284 hit points, if the artillery splashes anywhere near you, even with the thick armor like the E-50 has, it is generally going to take you out the game. Killing that GW Tiger pushes him over 10,000 damage in 9 kills. Can he track down this artillery with 2 minutes and 10 seconds left to be able to secure his 10th kill and an absolute epic carry, as well as the Kolobanov's medal for his team? Well, for himself, carrying the game for his team and also achieving the Kolobanov's medal in that 1 versus 5. Now, I have to admit, I'm not sure now, thinking about it, whether this was a good idea to leave the cap circle. Fair enough, that cap circle would have left him very open indeed. It's not the easiest place to cap on this map, but he could have probably hidden around here to be able to avoid the chance of some of the splash and just sat here, waited for some vision on the GW Tiger, possibly taking him out and pulled back. But he's gone with it now, and he's got 1 minute 30 left to find this artillery. One thing that the E-50 doesn't do very well is that a long time ago they reduced its engine power from 1,200 down to, gosh, I don't know what the top engine is on this tank now. Let's take a quick look. The top engine on this tank is now 900 brake horsepower, which doesn't give this tank fantastic horsepower to ton ratio, as it is a heavy old girl, as we saw when it was able to ram that Tier 8 Soviet premium medium tank. So he's now asking the enemy team, where is he? Yeah, fat chance, like they want to lose this. I think they're very happy to have a draw, or to hope that their M12 might be able to pull off an ambush. Now 50 seconds left on the game. He must be getting nervous. He really wants that Paul's medal and the Kolobanov's medal. Oh gosh, there is a lot on the line here. Will he be able to pick up this kill on the self-propelled gun? Where is he going to be hiding? Right now, he's checked the obvious location, which is up here. And I guess he has to make his way down here and hope that he's... Is he going to be here? No. He's only got a couple more chances now. He has to hope that he is down in the water. 20 seconds left. Goodness gracious, it is coming down to the wire. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11. Oh man, I really want to see where that M12 is. He's on 4 kills. Where is he hiding? The IS-3 on the team says, sorry, I can't tell you would you like to, but they would report me. Probably the last place would be looking to Littletown. Oh, absolute disaster. The game ends in an absolute heartbreak. liuxoB pushed his hunt too far. His detective work wasn't on case here, and we have no idea where the M12 was. So what an absolute heartbreak for liuxoB here. I was rooting for him to find that artillery, and I expect he regrets the decision to go hunting for them rather than take the cap. But at least he does win style points at the end for this pretty cool screenshot. Let's just take a quick look at the post-game stats. So while unfortunately liuxoB wasn't quite able to track down that win, he still gets a pretty sweet consolation prize. The Radley Walters medal for his 9 kills, a high caliber for the 10,000 damage that he did, and also a steel wall medal. It's quite unusual to get steel wall medals in a medium tank, but when you consider that the E-50 is so heavily armored, I guess it's not that surprising. 3,220 damage blocked. What's absolutely baffling in this game is that not a single other tank on his team, only self-propelled guns, were able to do 1,000 damage. This truly was a textbook example of how to use the E-50 and keep cool at the end of the game, and I feel like the only true mistake that liuxoB made was probably deciding to leave the cap circle at the end there. I feel like if you're inside the cap circle and you can force your opponents to come to you, especially when artilleries generally have very bad view range, it would be more sensible to do so. But of course, then you run the risk of one of them spotting you and the other splashing you, and then you get the draw or the loss anyway. But trying to hunt down artilleries on El Haluf is quite often a 50-50 as to where they decide they want to go. And also, I'm sure it was a mistake, but liuxoB did waste a lot of APCI ammunition in the middle of the game, but it didn't even seem to really matter that much, as he still makes a 40,000 credit profit. So liuxoB, thank you so much for submitting this on the replays.QuickyBaby.com website. It was a pleasure to watch, and I was completely gutted that you couldn't take down the Kolobanov's medal here, but you still played really, really well. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this video as well. If you did, please consider giving this a like down below. It really helps the channel out. And if this video has sparked your interest in the heavily armored German medium tank, then simply click through up here and you can go through to his bigger brother, the E-50M, kicking a ton of butt. And let me know in the comments down below what you think about the E-50, and also what you think about the upgrade when you get to the E-50M. Which do you feel is the stronger tank tier for tier, and which would you rather play for just having a lot of fun? And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.